Welcome back to FryMinis. I'm Eric, and today we're going to review Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance. A huge thank you to Wizards of the Coast and their PR company for sending over a review copy of Dark Alliance by WotC Games. This is a third-person action brawler based in D&D lore with real-time co-op combat. You get to play as iconic D&D heroes and join up to 3 other friends to battle legendary monsters, earn powerful gear, and unlock new abilities to take on even bigger challenges. The game comes out on June 22nd for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. You can pick up the standard version for $40 and the digital deluxe or steelbook edition for $60. I believe this is Wizards of the Coast's first in-house game, as they acquired WotC Games a few years ago. I was given a Steam key for review purposes and received no additional compensation for this video. Okay, so I'll be up front. When I saw the first trailer for this game, I was not interested at all, and frankly, I thought it looked terrible. I'm thrilled to say, though, that the actual game is actually great. D&D Dark Alliance reminds me of its namesake, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, in very good ways, but it's clearly its own game. You can play as Dritz the Drow Ranger, Catti-brie the Human Rogue, Brunner the Dwarf Fighter, or Wolfgar the Human Barbarian. The game suggests up to 18 hours to play through all the game quests once and 30 hours to maximize a character. Don't be fooled though, I think you'll end up spending much more time to really get the gear you want and defeat the hardest challenge modes. The story is interesting but not integral to play. I really appreciate that there is as much lore included in the game as there is. You can pick up tablets and tomes and other pieces of information to build a solid understanding of 10 towns in Icewind Dale. But you can also just ignore all of that. The game is meant for smashing and slashing, leveling up, finding loot, then finding the right loot, then leveling up that loot, then stabbing at creatures on even harder difficulties just to start the cycle all over again. I'm only about a dozen hours into the game, but nothing has become repetitive yet. The difficulty scaling is no joke. This game can be extremely hard, so be prepared to die a lot. Luckily, this game has a lot of room for skilled play. You can just attack over and over, but you're able to learn tons of elaborate moves. I have a hard time keeping track of all the different options, but I'm also terrible at real-time video games. I'm sure you'll do better. The game uses abilities and rules that are inspired by Dungeons & Dragons 5e, but plays completely unlike the actual tabletop role-playing game. And that's totally okay. For more of my thoughts on that, check out my D&D video games versus D&D rules video. Different methods of storytelling require different methods of execution. There's no way you could do a game like this without changing things up. It works and I'm happy. However, I'll admit it does feel weird for a drow to start with 5 charisma. I really enjoyed the variety of playstyles with the different characters. I spent most of my time with Dritz and loved the fast-paced, crit-heavy, frenetic gameplay style. I like leveling up my character and the equipment. I had fun with the randomized loot. You can have 2 items of the same set with different stats. One might have a bonus to critical hit percentage, and another might have a bonus to maximum hit points. What that means is you'll probably end up wanting multiple copies of the same piece for different builds or different quests. It can sting a little when you get a legendary, but it has a bad array of bonuses. I'd really like to see a way to functionally re-roll stats, something even if it's just like 1 item per day or something, just to have another chance. I would like to see the game do a better job with explaining itself. There's a tutorial and it's nice, but it's far from comprehensive. Where do I learn what cursed means? Is there somewhere to read exactly what confused does? Why doesn't slipping through the ethereal plane with Dritz get me across jagged ice spikes on the ground? But sliding or dashing, I'm able to go through them no problem. Nothing's terrible here. None of these are major concerns, but these are minor points of frustration. I mean, I still don't even know what an execution is. I was really happy to see tons of puzzles and traps in the game. All good tabletop dungeons have them, so I'm glad they made space for them here in the game. Also, can we please talk about the dance numbers in this game? Everyone is getting down and it is wonderful.
Maybe just a nibble. starving.
I want to say a big thank you for not including any microtransactions. It would be very easy to integrate them into Dark Alliance, and I sincerely appreciate their absence. We've got 2 free DLCs planned along with an expansion. The first DLC is called Wraiths and should be out this summer. It'll add a new storyline and bring 2-player split screen co-op to both PC and Xbox. The second is called Trolls and arrives in the fall. This one will bring another new storyline and even more challenging game modes. And then the expansion, which appears to be paid, is called Echoes of the Blood War. Also, it brings a new storyline, new quests, and new monsters, but importantly, Blood War will introduce an additional class, the first magic user of the game, and that's due out at the end of the year. At launch, co-op games will only allow one of each character, but an upcoming patch will allow duplicates, so you can have an entire party of Drits running around slashing goblins. Even if you're playing on PC, the game strongly recommends using an Xbox or PlayStation controller. I'm using an Xbox controller and I'm very satisfied with the control scheme. I encountered very few bugs. The worst is an occasional invisible creature. My head even turned invisible for a while at one point. Not game breaking, but annoying. I'm really looking forward to streaming a bunch of D&D Dark Alliance here on YouTube. The game is great to pop in and smash for a while. I wouldn't recommend comparing this to something like Baldur's Gate 3. I think that's a mistake. These are vastly different beasts. If I were to make comparisons to non-D&D games, I think of Baldur's Gate 3 as a Dragon Age game and Dark Alliance more of a Diablo game. D&D Dark Alliance gets a thumbs up from me. I want to watch as I play through the tutorial and first quest for the very first time? Check out my playthrough video. Also, keep an eye out as I plan to start streaming this game very soon. Thank you again to Wizards of the Coast for providing the game. A huge thank you to my patrons, the Spud Club, for supporting the channel through thick and thin. I'd love to hear what you think of Dark Alliance down in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.